you know, obviously last week we had a opportunity, we had a great game. We played out at Ball State and, you know, followed the plan to win really well. We played great on defense. We controlled the ball for 37 or whatever it was, some odd minutes, and we didn't have any turnovers, which was great. Played well on special teams and ran the football. So 2 backs over 100 yards, had over 500 yards of total offense. We had great time of possession. So we were able to do some of the things that we talked about in here last week, you know, at this time that we needed to do, we did. Our quarterback was very, very efficient, played quite well. So, you know, that worked out well for us. It was a game that we needed to bounce back. We needed to play really strong, and that all got accomplished. You know, now we come right back into it, playing a team here, Buffalo, who beat Ohio, which was picked to be one of the top teams in the league. You can see on tape why they won the game. They have a great running back and a really good quarterback who's a very athletic guy who can beat you at his feet. He can throw the long balls. They've got a group of very good receivers. Defense, they have a defensive end that is a completely dominant player, SEC caliber player. And I think that Coach Quinn's got them playing really hard. They kind of, when I look at them, they remind me a little bit of us from the standpoint that I think they play hard in all 3 phases. Very evident on tape that they play with a chip on their shoulder. They play the whole game. They keep pounding, you know, at you. And, you know, I think those kinds of teams are teams that find ways to win. And obviously they found a way to win. And then you go back and you track the whole year, and they're right in the game with UConn, or you know, they're right in the game with Pittsburgh. I mean, you know, so it all adds up, so to speak. It's not like a blip somewhere, like, oh wow, they beat Ohio. Well, if you really follow it, it kind of all adds up. Kind of playing the way they've been playing, and they're improving every week, and they're getting better. And I think, you know, we're playing a team that's highly motivated, that's probably, you know, on top of their game right now. In a rival Eastern game coming in here, it should be a hell of a football game on Saturday.
Coach, the defense in 3rd and longs, it looked like you had sort of like a jailhouse defense. You bring in a lot of extra corners, safeties, whatever, take out a couple down linemen. I think Coach here calls it a radar defense or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a you know, it's a sub grouping to go in there and, you know, kind of.
I mean, the intent is to, I guess, confuse a little bit, but also get maybe more better coverage in there.
Better coverage. You know, you're always looking at a way to attack protections. So, you know, what happens sometimes is protections are based on identification. Offensive lines declare how many down there are and you know, who they're working to, and you know, you have to, in that situation, you kind of got to do it on the run. So, you know, you can +1 them maybe sometimes and create some problems there, as well as put some fast bodies on the field that can cover.
And up until the time of the snap, guys are up. The guys you have up front are moving all over the place.
Right. So you can't, you know, ultimately, if you kind of stand around, you know.
Are they freelance to do that, or
I mean, they're freelance.
Is there a design to it to some degree?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. You got to be gap sound. You got to have contain. I mean, where you end up is where, you know, you need to end up, but you know, where you start from can vary. Yeah.
Did Chester work at all last week on just the trajectory of his long ball? The one he threw to Streeter was maybe the best pass I've seen him throw in 5 years, in terms of how he threw it, where he threw it, considering the boundary and everything like that. Was there extra emphasis placed? Because we all know his one problem has been with the deep ball in terms of accuracy.
Well, I mean, you know, we were bound and determined in that game that we were going to throw, you know, X amount of shots down the field, and we knew that going in. Now, we didn't throw as many as we probably would have because the game didn't play out that way. But we certainly worked on that during the week, and that's something that we feel we need to do. We have, you know, big, tall receivers out there, and we need to be able to take advantage of these teams that are loading the box and say, okay, you know, you're going to load the box, but we're going to take a shot down the field right now. So we worked at it, and I think he threw, you know, obviously, you know, he threw a great ball. Threw a terrific ball. And you know, Chester's got a great arm now. He's got a tremendous arm. You know, it's all a matter of, you know, just reps and emphasis points. And you know, on that given play, he threw a great pass. But he played well all day. Played well all day. And just very efficient with what he did. You know, and real happy for the way he played. He played tough again. I keep saying that. You know, he played physical. He had some runs there where he just really, you know, he went and got first downs. There was a mindset, there's a demeanor, and he had it. And you know, if we have that a quarterback playing hard and we don't turn the ball over, we're playing the way we're supposed to be playing. Our issues have been when we've turned the ball over. That's when we've had our issues. Either lose possessions or get behind down and distance-wise. So we just got to take care of the football. And, those deep balls are the deep balls. I mean, everyone wants to take a high shot with a deep ball, and they're not high percentage. But when you hit them, they're huge.
How tough is it to take a guy like Matt Brown out down inside the 5? I mean, obviously he's not as strong maybe as Bernard, but he made some great runs the other day. Finally did get a touchdown. But is that tough as a coach to remove him after he's done maybe something on a drive? Or,
yeah, I mean, I think that our whole mindset is that we have the opportunity to keep guys fresh. And that going into the game, it was a little hot on Saturday too, and we felt like we weren't going to wait to get one guy fatigued and then try to bring another guy on. Right from the beginning, we started getting that roll going there. That's kind of the thing that we think is the best way to handle our guys, to keep both fresh. But it's like everything else. It's best laid plans. And your goal is to let the guys that are your playmakers touch the football as many times as you can. I'd say the guy that we didn't get the football to as much in this game that we would have liked to have was Evan Rodriguez. That didn't happen as much. But the two backs averaged over, both went over 100 yards rushing, which is for us and our style is important. It's an important thing to have happen. So, but just keeping our guys fresh, you need them all. We need everybody. It's a long season. Ball State was confronted with some real issues on defense with some injuries. And, it's just. Everyone's got to play. You got to keep people alive because it's a long year.
Can you assess where you guys are right now, the halfway point, and what are some of the things you think you guys need to work on to win a MAC championship?
Well, I mean, I think we want to keep working on our first and second down throw game. But you say that on one hand, but on the other hand, if you're running the ball real well, you're not going to stop running the ball to do that. We want to make sure we're still putting ourselves in the best situation for what our guys do best, so we don't have we're trying to cut down on turnovers. So that's something we want to do, and we got to in practice we got to have these tough weeks of practice. We're a better team when we practice really hard, but the liability of that is we're thin too, like everybody else. You get midpoint, 3/4 way through the season, guys are beat up, you're thin. You start having those hard practices, you got to watch out. You start losing guys, and it's a fine line. I don't have a great answer for you other than I think in my heart we just got to keep practicing hard. And, byproduct could be, a couple of injuries and just going to have to deal with that. Other than, I don't like the alternative right now, which is not playing with an edge. Just kind of, we're not that team. Maybe some teams are, we're not.
So Steve, how many times this week will it be mentioned what happened 2 weeks ago when you were coming off, similar situation? I'm assuming.
Obviously, every chance we had. We had to walk through this morning, it was brought up. It's just really, it's constant, you're shaping, you're molding, and it's constant education as to what's true. There's a difference between, to me, trying to mold a team to what's right and true or trying to psychologically twist them a little bit. I'm not trying to twist anybody. The facts are that that's who we are. Facts are that we have to be smart enough to figure out that we have to practice hard. We have to have an edge to us. We can't take our foot off the gas. Human nature is to kind of try to take your foot off the gas whenever you can. And that's human nature. And you got to fight human nature. And you got to say we can't do that. We know that that's a failure for us. We've got to go really hard. We've got to play that way. That's who we are. That's our style of play. And if we let up on that, we're not one of those finesse teams. We're not a team that's going to all of a sudden just kind of chuck it around a little bit and make things happen. That's not who we are. We really got to come in, with our lunch pail to work. We got to go bloody someone's nose, and we got to kind of just go about the business of boom, boom, burying the run game until we get our shots and take our hits, and that's who we are. So I think there's a molding that it has to take place to make sure that we all understand it, buy into it, and then demand it. And that's what we're working on right now. So the practice structure has got to be one that lends itself to that. You can't say that and then all of a sudden have a practice that's not real tough. Then it doesn't happen. So it'll be a real tough day.